The share price of Genius Brands International stock, or ticker symbol GNUS, recently fell off of a cliff after well-known short seller Hindenburg Research recently attacked the company in its latest report. Did you expect Genius Brands to sit back in silence without making a peep? Regardless of how you decided to answer that, Genius CEO Andy Heyward had something to say. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you exactly what was said and my take on this entire ordeal. And we're going to be starting right now. What is going on? It's Pat from Top Ticker Trades. If this is your first time here and you want to learn about investing and trading in the stock market, make sure you start now by subscribing and tapping that bell so you never miss a thing. I'll see you guys in the video. What is up? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Welcome back to a new video. Today, we're talking about Genius Brands International Incorporated, ticker symbol GNUS. Specifically, we're looking at the response that CEO Andy Heyward released shortly after the infamous short seller Hindenburg Research tried to destroy the Genius brand reputation in an attempt to drop the company's share price through publishing one of those infamous Hindenburg articles. There's four main key points that I'm going to be looking at based off of Andy Heyward's response, and they are as follows. Number one, Genius Brands is well positioned to create substantial value. Number two, Genius Brands' balance sheet is strong. Number three, Hindenburg's criticisms of Genius programs highlight their own industry ignorance. So basically, Andy Heyward is saying that Hindenburg is an idiot. Number four, Genius Brands is a long-term growth story. So yesterday evening, Genius Brands International published or released the following statement from CEO and Chairman Andy Heyward, and this is in response to our favorite short seller, Hindenburg. Okay, so it goes like this, and I quote, Genius Brands has carefully reviewed the report and social media comments published by two short seller funds last week. These materials contain numerous misleading statements, omissions of key facts, and red herrings. More importantly, the short sellers themselves demonstrate a fundamental misunderstanding of the unique potential of Genius Brands and our position of strength given the current dynamics of our industry. It is also important to keep in mind how these short sellers make money and what they are trying to do. Make no mistake, their intention and indeed how they make their money is to manipulate the stock price of companies like ours in order to profit at the expense of other shareholders. Their interests are directly opposed to shareholders' interests. In contrast, as one of the largest investors in the company, myself, my interests are fully aligned with those of my fellow shareholders and will remain so. With that in mind, I submit the following. So this is where we actually get into the first component that I mentioned, which is we are well positioned to create substantial value. And here is what Andy Heyward says. With Cartoon Channel launching on June 15th and to be available in more than 100 million US TV households and 200 million mobile devices, we are positioned to be one of the preeminent ad-supported kids digital networks. The service referred to as a Netflix for kids is made even stronger by the distinct fact that it is a free service. There are no subscription fees. It is ad-supported. Further, we do not anticipate being impacted by COVID-19. The business of cartoons has historically had an appeal that is timeless and is a rare asset class which has historically been resistant to typical market forces. While the rest of Hollywood is grinding to a stop during the COVID-19 crisis, we're creating new products for an audience that is growing now out of the new technologies and streaming services. This is especially true at a time when there are more kids at home and in front of their devices during the pandemic. We believe we will see robust and accelerated revenue growth coming forth in this arena for our foreseeable future. So that's the end of the first component. Now we're going to move on to the second component, which was our balance sheet is strong. So Heyward says, we have $9.75 million of debt, in excess of $45 million of cash, significant receivables from a diverse array of companies across our industry with strong credit profiles and low overhead. Today, GNUS Brands has enough cash on our balance sheet to meet our existing obligations and execute on our business plan for at least 60 months and still fund continuing new production and content acquisitions each year. Conveniently, last week when one of the short sellers stated we weren't at the same revenue point as one of our Canadian-based competitors, he neglected to mention that the other company has more than 60 times, which is $600 million, as much debt as GNUS Brands. We think identifying this omission is important to understanding the whole story. Finally, to clear up market confusion that we believe has been generated as a result of one short seller's report, the shelf registration on Form S3 filed on June 4th was related to our capital raise in March 2020. We registered the resale of shares underlying the warrants we issued in March, and the S3 filing does not in any way represent a new capital raise, nor is it related to recent changes in our stock price. Alright, so now on to the next component, which was the short sellers' criticisms of our programs highlight their own industry ignorance. And here's what Heyward says. Llama Llama is an industry-recognized tremendous asset that we have on great terms, which are mutually beneficial with the IP's author, book publisher, and ourselves. We are also confident in the appeal of the soon-to-be-launched Stan Lee's Superhero Kindergarten, one of the last creations of Stan Lee, creator of Spider-Man, X-Men, Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Thor, Fantastic Four, Black Panther, and the Avengers, among others. Similarly, we are happy with the outlook for Rainbow Rangers. The fact is that the show's airings on Nick Jr. have been scaled back while we are currently producing new episodes, which is a standard industry practice known as resting. We expect the airings to ramp back up in August when the new episodes are completed, and this will be timed with the launch of toys from Mattel hitting the shelves of Walmart in August. We are confident Nick Jr.'s interests are aligned with ours. After all, they have a stake in the consumer products merchandising royalties related to this asset. The track record of our leadership team speaks volumes. Our senior management comes largely from the Walt Disney Company, DreamWorks Animation, and Hasbro Toys, and has been responsible for many of the biggest and most profitable hits in children's television history, as well as toy and consumer product programs generating billions of dollars of program sales and royalty income. The management team and board have had creative, licensing, production, broadcasting, and sales roles in some of the biggest animated hits in children's history, including The Lion King, Toy Story, Strawberry Shortcake, Care Bears, Power Rangers, My Little Pony, Spider-Man, Batman, X-Men, Transformers, Muppet Babies, Fraggle Rock, Real Ghostbusters, and Inspector Gadget. Collectively, we have more than 150 years of experience in children's media and have helped generate literally tens of billions of dollars of content and consumer product sales. Further, last Friday, we announced the addition of two of our industry's most accomplished executives overseeing the new channel. Margaret Loesch as Executive Chairman of Cartoon Channel, former president of Marvel Entertainment, Fox Kids, and Henson Television, and David Newman as Chief Content Officer of Cartoon Channel. So former president of Walt Disney Television. Margaret was founding CEO of Fox Kids and built it from zero to the most successful and profitable kids program service, and what was eventually sold to the Walt Disney Company for $5.5 billion. None of us claim to be experts at short selling, but we also think it's a stretch for short sellers to claim to know more about this industry than those of us who have been industry leaders and spent decades making money for investors while building some of the sector's most successful brands and companies. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've made it to the last component, which is Genius Brands is a long-term growth story. So Heyward says, we have a number of hit brands and shows today, but we are even more excited about what is coming and the synergies with the newly announced Cartoon Channel. We have over 450 licensed products contracted with advances and guarantees to come into the marketplace in the coming months. Our pipeline of new animated products, soon to be announced, is robust and pre-sold with significant brand equity. Our partners, licensees, and retail customers include Alibaba, Amazon, Mattel, Netflix, Target, and Walmart, among others. Rainbow Rangers toys from Mattel, based on our hit series on Nick Jr., will hit Walmart stores in August, beginning with a multi-pack of Rainbow Rangers figures. Over 350 other licensed consumer products SKUs are due as well, including publishing, room decor, bedding, footwear, apparel, health and beauty, bicycles, toothpaste, touring shows, among others, some of which are now already on Amazon.com, Walmart.com, and Target.com. Above all else, we are focused on long-term value. After working with Warren Buffett for 25 years and producing the children's animated series with Warren to teach financial literacy, Warren Buffett's Secret Millionaires Club, I've learned to focus on the importance of the basics, asset creation and value building for our shareholders. On a personal note, I have not sold a single share, and in fact, have materially increased my holdings in the company in the last 2 years. We take the views of all our investors seriously, and we and our board are committed to maintaining the highest standards of corporate governance and transparency. The company is not suggesting that any particular trading price for the company's securities is appropriate, whether in the short or long term. However, we would like to seek to clarify certain facts as it relates to the short seller information that has been put into the marketplace. Finally, the company reserves the right to take appropriate legal action against Hindenburg Research and Citron Research, as we will always do what we can to protect our shareholders' interests. End quote. Okay, so that was actually a lot. So now let's go to my take on all of this. So basically, what I'm looking at is that Genius Brands is still looking at a whole lot of challenges. Genius Brands sales and lack of profits don't really support its current valuation. That's number one. So the current value of the shares is too much for me to be paying at this time. Also, there's really no assurances that the Cartoon Channel will be a success, even though, we all, as potential investors or even the ones holding, would hope that, it would be a success. Also, a free ad-supported model could have potential, but you have to stop and think that there are plenty of other low cost or free options for kids at this time, and most of these are going to be heavy competitors for Genius to be coming in as a brand new competitor to really compete with. We've got Netflix, that's pretty cheap. We've got Disney Plus, pretty cheap, like $6.99. We've got Prime Video, which is included with Prime, Amazon Prime memberships, and then we've got YouTube, which is free. So, you know, GNUS is gonna have a long, hard road ahead of it still. Now, I'm not saying that, to be a jerk or, meaning that in like a bad way or anything, but, the company still has to prove themselves before I would actually consider, investing a lot of money um, into the company. But nonetheless, I mean, I do like the company. I think there is potential there. It all just depends on, whether or not the company's gonna repeat some of its past mistakes, which I mentioned in the original video in this series, which would be video number 1, and I'm gonna link it here in a second. You're gonna see it pop up as a thumbnail, so make sure you check that out if you have not seen it. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is all I have for you today. This wraps up yet another video, the third in the series. Make sure you check the other 2 out. They will be popping up on your screen shortly. As always, I thank you for watching the video. Make sure that you hit that thumbs up button if you enjoy the content and want to see more of it. If you have any questions, complaints, gripes, whatever the case may be, if I missed something, let me know in the comments below, because all I'm trying to do is get some feedback to improve the quality of the content that I'm putting out for you guys. So, thank you everyone for watching. If you made it this far, I do appreciate it. Take a look at your screen, click on one of the thumbnails if you haven't seen the other 2 videos, and I will see you guys in the next video.